Yes guys, it's FPL Guy here, and in today's video we'll be going through my Matchday 7 team selection, and then we'll also look at some potential Matchday 7 drafts and some different combination of players. This may also give you guys some ideas for your own teams, and I think that will be really helpful. After that, we'll look at some captaincy decisions, some safe options, and also some differentials if you're trying to gain rank or you're trying to catch up in your mini leagues. That would be very useful. And at the end, we'll go through my final thoughts and what I think what will happen in this game and my predictions. Before we jump into the video, two more things. As always, the timestamps of this video will be in the description, so feel free to jump around in the video if you'd like to do that. Although this will be a fairly short video, so I recommend you watch the entire video. And finally, if this is the first time you're hearing my voice, then please consider subscribing. There'll be many more videos to come, especially when Premier League starts again. And also, lastly, it'll literally take you 0.5 seconds, drop a like on the video, it really helps out the channel. And with that being said, let's jump into the team selection. Okay, so here is my current team. So before we jump into it, I think I should mention my formation planning. So I'm thinking of either going for a 4-4-2 or a 5-4-1. Now I'm going to explain why I think that in a moment. So as for the attackers, there's only two options, right? So there's only Immobile or Kane. And if I go for a 5-4-1, then it would be Kane that I'll pick up front, since Immobile's kind of lost his form, right? In the last 3 games, he's had good amounts of minutes, but he hasn't converted any chances, whereas Kane in that time has scored 4 goals. So 1 against Germany, 2 against Ukraine, and then 1 in the previous game against Denmark. So Kane will be up front. If I go for the 4-4-2, then obviously I'll be playing both. As for my midfield, we currently have Olmo and Torres to remove. And in place of these guys, first up is going to be Chiesa. I don't already have him. If you don't have him, then he'll be one of my priority picks for this week. He's been playing incredibly well. He's in form as well as Insigne. These two players are doing really well for Italy. So that's my first transfer. As for the second one, that would go to Mount. Now I talked about his stats and his heat map as well as England's stats and Italy's stats and a lot of information in my previous video. I'll leave the link to that video down in the description. If you haven't watched that, I highly recommend you check that out as well, as that gives a lot of key information about the overall team in the finals and some key players in there as well. And then we have our defense. So Shaw, Stones, Donnarumma and Emerson, they're all staying. We can remove Melee and also Pau Torres. In for Melee, I'm going to go for Di Lorenzo. And then the final option for defender, I'm going to go to Bonucci. Okay, so those are my defender options. And then we do have 1 transfer remaining and 0.7 in the bank. I could get in Pickford, although I don't see the point because I am personally going to just keep Donnarumma in goal. So that only leaves Morata, right? And then since none of the other forwards are really going to be playing, we can just go for Rashford just to fill up that spot. Right. So this is sort of the core of my team now, right? So my 5 transfers are Chiesa, Di Lorenzo, Bonucci, Mount, and Rashford. So my starting 11 for the finals would be Immobile, Kane, Sterling, Insigne. Then instead of Berardi, I'll bring in Mount, and then Chiesa, Shaw, John Stones, Di Lorenzo, Emerson, and Donnarumma. So I have Berardi, Rashford, and Bonucci, and Stecklenburg on the bench. Now the reason that I'm going for 4 at the back, or as I mentioned 5 at the back, is because I think it's going to be a very low scoring game. In my opinion, it's going to be around a 1-1 and go all the way to the end, or potentially 2-1 to one of the teams, although even that's stretching it. And since it's a low scoring game, there's a fairly decent chance that one of the teams will keep a clean sheet, as I think neither of the teams will be going all out, right? They're going to be playing very conservative, they're going to be playing safe, they're going to try to keep possession just because of the situation, right? It's the finals, they don't want to make any silly mistakes. And for that reason, I see potential clean sheet for one of the teams. And so if even England keep that clean sheet, I have 2 English defenders, and that's 12 points already. If Italy keep the clean sheet, that's 18 points just from the defenders. And so as for securing points, if the attackers do score a goal, that's 4 points from them. If the midfielders score, that's 5 points. Although, as I said, it's going to be very unlikely they score many goals, and therefore, to be safe, I think the defenders will get you those safe points, those clean sheet points. And hence, I'm going for 4 or maybe even 5 at the back. If I do go for 5, then I think I'm going to just spread the risk and go for 3 Italian and 3 English. So I'll get rid of Bonucci, and instead of him, I'll go for Maguire. So that will be my 5 at the back. Maguire, Shaw, Stones, 3 English, and then Di Lorenzo, Emerson, and Donnarumma, 3 Italian. And in order to do that, I'll remove Immobile so that Maguire can come in. Just because Immobile, as mentioned, he's not playing incredibly well recently. However, Kane has scored 4 goals in that period of time. So as for some differential options, in terms of the England team, you could go for the likes of Saka or even Grealish or Sancho, all depending on who starts, right? So if we first look at Saka, he's a straight fit because he's fairly cheap. Instead of Mount, you can go Saka. And as for Sancho, let's try fitting him in. He is quite expensive, so we're 1.8 over. So we can just get rid of Rashford and get in Calvert-Lewin instead. Like that, and yeah, then we're in budget. So that's something you could look at. Although I think Sancho isn't likely to start. I think Southgate's going to go for a fairly similar team to the semi-finals. So I think Sancho won't really get a chance to play. And as for the other option, we can go for Grealish. I don't think he's going to start either, but let's see the lineups first before we make any transfers, right? And just to put this out there, these aren't locked in. Any of my transfers aren't locked in. My final team will be posted on my Instagram, and you can see my name on my Instagram at the top of the screen, or there's a link in the description if you want to follow that. If you're an Instagram user, check it out. I post pretty much every day on it, and my final team will be posted over there as well. So yeah, the other option is Grealish. And yeah, we have plenty of budget left, and we can get Rashford back in if we wanted. But that's not too much of a problem anyway. And as for the Italian differentials, you can go for the likes of Barella. You don't want to remove Insigne or Chiesa for him. If you have a spare slot, someone you want to transfer out, or someone maybe like Berardi, who is unlikely to start, then you can get in Barella. Like that, 7.5. Yep, he's in budget as well. So something like this, if you want to try to climb your rank or climb up your mini leagues, then those are some players that you can also think about. Okay, so this team on screen now is the one that I'm likely to lock in with. So I've gone for 2 English defenders, 3 Italian defenders, and I'll have 2 midfielders from England, 2 from Italy. So Mount will be replacing Berardi, and then 1 Italian up front and 1 English up front. So it's a fairly split team. I think I have just 1 more Italian than English, but it's a fairly split team, fairly safe team. So I think the only thing that's going to make a differential is for the captaincy. So let's move into that now. Okay, as for captaincy, the obvious safe picks are probably Kane and Insigne. If you want to go for Italy or England, those are probably the 2 standout ones. Since Insigne is on set pieces, he's in form, he's playing very well. Kane's on penalties, and he's also picked up form as well. He's got 4 goals in the last 4 games, I think, or 3 games. 4 goals in the last 3 games, so he's really picked up form as well. So you could go for Kane. He's got the momentum behind him, so he's a fairly safe pick. So if you're looking to gain rank, or you feel a bit lucky or a bit cheeky, then you can go for perhaps you could go for Chiesa. That is someone I'm really looking at. If he starts, then I think he's been playing really well. He's getting a lot of shots. I think he's a great captain pick. And as for the England players, Sterling is another great shout. His stats are really good. Last game, he could have got a lot more points, but he only got the 4. And he's been consistent in getting points. So I think, his form is really good as well. So he's a potential differential option as well. As well as that, you could even look at Mount. As I mentioned, he's really creative. He's going to be creating a lot of chances. He's on set pieces. He has a decent chance of getting assists from set pieces. As I mentioned in my last video, a lot of England's goals are coming from headers, so since Mason Mount is on set pieces, the likes of Maguire, Stones and Kane, they're going to be, from corners, they're going to be heading in goals. So he has a good chance of assists if they score from set pieces. If you're betting on clean sheets, then definitely there's some decent options you can go for in defense as well. You know, sure, he's really attacking. We can see what he can do. He's a decent option. Emerson as well. I don't think he's as good as Shaw, but it just depends on who you really think is going to keep the clean sheet. If I were to pick out of Italy and England, if one of them were guaranteed to get a clean sheet, I would think it would be Italy, in my opinion, and therefore Emerson is a great shout. As for my captain, I think I'm going to go for Chiesa. As long as he's starting, I think he's a great pick and he's differential as well. So, you know, you can boost up the rank. It's the final week. Why not have some fun as well? So, Chiesa is the one that I'm going to be going for. Unless something changes, he will be my captain. Alright, guys, I think we'll leave it at that. If you have any questions about your team, then let me know in the comments. I'll be replying to all of them. So if you have any questions, captaincy questions, which combination is better, then leave that in the comments and I'll definitely reply to that. Apart from that, make sure you've subscribed to the channel. Many more great videos to come. Like the video and check out my Instagram as well. That'll be in the description. And one thing before we end the video, I just want to say a huge thank you to all of you guys. There's been a great amount of support on the channel recently and I'm getting a lot of great comments. I'm glad you guys are finding my videos useful and entertaining. And thank you guys for watching this video. And I'll catch you guys after the finals. We'll see how this goes. We'll see who wins. Is it coming home? Let me know in the comments. And I'll catch you guys in the next video. Take care.